So verse number 241. तत्पदाभ्याम अभिधीयमानयोः ब्रह्मात्मनो शोधितयोर्यदित्थम् श्रुत्या तयोस्तत्त्वमसीति सम्यक् एकत्वमेव प्रतिपाद्यते मुहुः. So as we saw in the previous classes, how and what is the nature of me, oneself. Now here few verses talks about that tattvam padabhyam, this tattvam asi, that you are, that is analysis. Tattvam padabhyam, so there are two words. So what are they? Tatpada and Tvam-pada. So by these two words, Abhidhiyamanayoho, so that means through the help of this Tatpada and Tvam-pada, that and this, now it is going to indicate, it is going to communicate something. And what is that going to communicate? Brahma Atmanah Aikyam iti. So Brahma Atmanah. So the Brahman stands for Tatpada and Atmanah stands for Tvam-pada. So that means it is going to communicate, or the purpose of this is to communicate that there is an identity between Brahman and Atman. If you want to say the totality and the individuality. But it's not that easy. Sodhitayoho yad itham srutya. So when he uses this word, because it is not that easy to accept that the Brahman and Atman are one and same. So when Brahman is Jagat Karanam, the cause of this universe, even if I am not the Karan of my own house, you understand? So how is it possible? And when under Ishvara, Maya is under Ishvara, that's why his other name is called Mayadhara. I am always dancing with Maya. So how is it possible? How is it to be acceptable? It's not acceptable at all. So that's why he uses this word, Sodhitayoho. Some type of sodhanam is being done. Some purification, analysis that we have seen in Panchadasi. Through this Jahat Ajahat Lakshana. In details we have seen how Gangayam Ghosha. So when he says the house is in Ganga, is it really in Ganga? It is on the bank of Ganga. We have seen in details. Now this sort of analysis has to be done. And what happens? Yat itham srutya tayo tvam tattvam asi iti samyak ekatvam eva pratipadyate. And that too muhu, repeatedly, again and again. Even though these two are completely different, appears seemingly as though they are different. But when You start analyzing very carefully. And of course, you need to see what? They are implied meaning, not direct meaning. Bhagatyaga lakshanam. So you have to keep one person and remove another person. Hopefully you will not do other way around. The person which is supposed to be thrown away, discarded, you keep that which is supposed to be thrown away, which is not supposed to be thrown away, you throw away, and which is supposed to be thrown away, keep it. It's like, sometimes it happens. Especially men. This is the difference between men and women, okay? When a woman is upset crying, you can observe this really very good psychology. While crying, being upset, the woman will do the job perfectly, especially cutting vegetables. This is a very good example, I have seen it. Very nicely they will cut. While crying, talking, all these things, you will discover, what is to be thrown away, the lady will throw. What is to be kept, will keep it. Very nice and systematically, even if crying, talking, or angry, whatever. Whereas what men do, same situation, if the man is angry or upset or whatever, you will discover inevitably while cutting the vegetable, which part is supposed to be kept, that part will be thrown. And of course, which part is supposed to be thrown, that will be kept. Have you not observed this? So, look. So this is a beautiful example. Then disaster, then I have also seen this situation, I remember very well. Then finally the lady will come and shout, nothing will happen by you, please go, okay? And sometimes men are clever also. Purposeful they do, so that next time they will not be asked to do at all. However, coming back to the point. So this is Bhagatyaga Lakshana. So this analysis has to be done very carefully. That's why in Shastra, always we take the help of the teacher. Or else the analysis will go the way the person wants. However, so when this is being understood, not the direct meaning, but the implied meaning, definitely that the person understands that the Aikya Vakya, in fact, we say, wherever we come across this equation, the oneness equation, you can use the word oneness equation. So the equation between individuality and totality is being highlighted or explained as one, that is called Mahavakya. So Mahavakya means great sentence, actually great statement, I would rather say. Even though popularly we have 4 Mahavakyas, like Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, Ayamatma Brahma, Pragyana Brahmati. But if you look at scriptures, you will find many places Mahavakyas. Of course, it's a little bit roundabout, but popularly these 4 are known by everybody. So here is being said, this is to be understood. Let us look at the next verse. Aikyam tayo laksita yorna vachayoho nigadyate nyonya viruddha dharminah. Khadyotavanyorīva rājabhrutyayoho kupamburashyo paramanu mervo. This is a look. This identity between Brahma and Atman. Brahmatma Aikyam is not that easy. Why? So, because if you try to look at the direct meaning of these two words, definitely is a big confusion. It is not that easy to arrive at. Only there will be confusion. And especially when we look at the psychological aspect of individuality, that is much more confusing. At least the intellectual aspect, financial aspect, or any other aspect somehow we can understand, we can appreciate. But when it comes to the psychological aspect of the individuality, it is not that easy to understand either. So that's why here says, gives few examples how they are contradicting each other. So through this contradiction also it's being highlighted. You don't have to look at the direct meaning, but you need to look at the implied meaning behind it. So aikyam tayoh laksitayoh vachyayoh na vachyayoh nigadyate iti. So that means when you have to really be very careful that you need to see what this the implied meaning, not the direct meaning. Because if you try to look at this direct meaning, anyanya virudha dharmina. So anyanya virudha dharmina means they are contradicting each other. The direct meaning directly it contradicts, and he gives a few examples. Because how is it possible to compare? So comparison is what? Look, khadyata bhanyo. So khadyata means like a particular glowworm. Nowadays is missing. Very rarely you see. In fact, when we were in Poggiomonte, we could see them in Italy. Of course, in India, few places I see nowadays is gone. I remember in our childhood, it was plentifully available. And being a child, we try to run behind to catch them because very nice. And of course, once you catch, they die. They injected a beautiful thought in us, how to protect them. The child will not understand anything. They will say, look, if you catch that fellow, you will go to toilet. Because toilet pressure will come. So moment this thought is being injected, whether really comes a child is, whatever thought you inject, that happens. Suppose happens to be one fellow gets toilet pressure, he will spread. Yes, in fact I had this problem. No child will run behind it, and poor creatures, I would rather say, they could survive from us. And they say beautifully that, in fact this is what I have seen it very carefully. Till this fertilizer came, they were plentifully available. The fertilizer destroyed. That's why wherever there is no fertilizer, they say very beautifully that if you see this glowworm, that means that area is free from fertilizer, these chemicals. However, so now the point is glowworm and Surya Bhanu, the sun. So there is only little similarity. So what is the similarity? So similarity is this also gives little light, sun also gives light. But how can you compare? Is it possible? But then gives another example. Raja Prutyayoho. So between the king and the people, those who are working attendant in the palace. Now how can you compare? Even though there is some type of similarity, but it's not that easy to compare either. And Cooper, so Cooper and Amburashi. Cooper means a well. So well that holds some water, small, that not waffy, not big one. Generally Cooper will be maximum 1 meter diameter. However, here this Cooper has got small amount of water. Amburashi means ocean, also has water. How can you compare? So ocean and a Cooper. So then he says, look, Paramanu, Meru. So Paramanu means a small tiny particle, what we call as atom actually, Anu Paramanu. So in short, it's a tiny particle, smallest particle. It doesn't talk about atom and all these things, okay? Let neutron, proton, all these things. So the tiniest particle, smallest particle, and Meru, the mountain. Now, how can you compare them? Even though there is similarity. Remember, all the examples have been given that has some similarity. There is a link. But for a common person, it is impossible to compare, to see the oneness. Let us read the next. Tayor virodho yamupadhi kalpitaha na vastava kaschidupadireshaha. ईशस्य माया महदादि कारणम जीवस्य कार्य शृणु पंचकोशम. Says, look, as we say this, also with reference to Jiva and Paramatma. Jivatma and Paramatma, tayoho, between them, Jivatma, Paramatma nayoho, between them, there is virodha. So there is some type of contradiction. So there is difference. And of course, this difference is not because of anything. But here it says, upadhi kalpita. So upadhi kalpita means attributed to the superimposition. And he said, no vastavahati. In reality, it is not there. So the difference that is being seen or visible, it is related to the upadhi. And this because of the upadhi, attributed to the upadhi, but not because of the reality. Now what happens? Kaschit upadhi esa isasya. Now one can say, like, okay, what is the upadhi of here? Isa, the Ishvara, the totality. Look, beautifully, the Ishasya upadhi maya iti. that is Mahadadi Karanam. That becomes the cause of the Hiranyagarbha Mahat. Because we have seen everything in detail, so that I can go ahead just like that, okay? Nothing much to talk. Mahat means Hiranyagarbha. So that becomes the cause of Mahat, the Hiranyagarbha. And of course, Jivasya Karyam Maya Srunu Panchakosham. Very beautifully. So if you look at Jivasya Karanam, sorry, Jivasya Karyam, not Karanam, sorry. So here, when the Ishaha, the Ishwaraha becomes the Karanam, ended with Maya, that creates the Mahat Hiranyagarbha. And of course, Mahadadi beginning with Hiranyagarbha and etc. Now Jiva becomes the Karya. So being the Karya of what? Karya of Maya. And what is Maya? Maya, this Triguna, ignorance. Mainly effect of what? In that Triguna, more Sattva Guna is there. I hope you remember in Panchadasi, first chapter. Actually, first chapter of Panchadasi clarifies a lot. Then, and how is it possible? He says, look, may you listen to what is this? This individual, the Jivatma, is nothing but its own upadhi is what? Pancha kosham. So 5 koshas. And again, this is nothing but the effect of the Maya. That's why the Ishwaraha is called Mayadharaha. So who is the embodiment of Maya, under whose control Maya is there? Whereas we poor people, we only keep dancing with Maya. This is the difference, okay? Let us read next. Etavupadhi parajivayostayoho सम्यक निरासे न परो न जीवः राज्यं नरेन्द्रस्य भटस्य खेटकः तयोरपोहे न भटो न राजा. Says beautifully. He gives the example. What example? Yeto upadhi parajivayoho. So this upadhis, panchakosha for jiva and for Ishvara Maya. So if we manage to remove these two upadhis, means by understanding analogy between this parajivayo, Paramatma and Jivatma, then what happens? Tayoho samyak nirase na paraha na jivaha iti. So if it is analyzed carefully, and of course through the analysis, if you have eliminated, if you have managed to eliminate, then what happens? There is no Paratma. So there is no Ishvara. Of course, no Jivaha, no Jivatma, neither individual. Because it is only related to what? Upadhi. And he says, how is it possible? Yes. Look, he gives the example. So what is the example? The example is Narendrasya Bhattasya. There is a difference between a king and Bhatta. So Bhattasya means a person who is working under a king. So they have put here is soldier. So any person who is working. Now definitely there is a difference. Because king is king. And this person who is working, let us say soldier also, is an ordinary person. How long there is difference? That long there will be difference as long as there is a king. There is a kingdom. So when both of them relate to each other in keeping with the kingdom. So the king saying things, I am the boss of the kingdom. That's why I am called what? It's my kingdom. I am the owner of this kingdom. That person becomes king. And other person who thinks that, look, I am part of this kingdom, serving the owner of the kingdom. So that long the person or protect kingdom. In fact, king thinks that I am here to enjoy the kingdom. This is the common thinking, like politicians. So I am here to enjoy the kingdom. Other one thinks what? I am here to protect by paying the tax. So between the taxpayer, rather that's a very good example, we can change. Between the taxpayer and politicians. So there is a difference. So taxpayer keeps paying and paying. Politicians enjoys their life with our taxes. Correct? Very simple example. How long there is difference? As long as there is a kingdom. As long as they relate with the kingdom. So once the kingdom is being dissociated because of some reason or other, the king is no more connected to the kingdom. The politician has no power. The politician becomes another taxpayer or not supposed to be, okay? So that means what? So in reality, there is no difference. And the difference happens because of what? Again, association with something. So the association only makes difference. Once that associated object or the object association, the limitations of the association is being understood, the person remains as it is. Okay? Because if we try to see more and more, let us look at the next verse. अथात आदेश इति श्रुति स्वयं निषेधति ब्रह्मणि कल्पितं द्वयम्. श्रुति प्रमाणानुगृहीत बोधात् तयोर् निरासः करणीय एव. Now, this is look, atha. So what is atha to be read? Atha ataha adesah iti srutihi. So now there is injunction. He says, what is that? very nicely says, and injunction in Shruti, in the Vedas, in the scripture. Swayam nishedhati brahmani kalpitam dvayam iti. He says, look, the scripture itself rejects nishedhati. What does it reject? Look, the kalpitam dvayam iti. Brahmani kalpitam dvayam. So it rejects kalpitam dvayam, the duality that is imagined. And where? Brahmani, in Brahman. And of course, here we say, once we look at Shruti as Pramana Anugurhita, Bodhat Tayo Nirasa Karaniya Eva. So once it is being seen, or once you see the negation, that is through the teaching, through the scripture. Now you need to own up by your understanding, or else you will become a parrot. This is the difference. That's why we say, in fact in the morning class I was highlighting this aspect while talking about this dhyanam, nitidhyasanam aspect, that viparita bhavana durikaranam. This is what many people do mistake. Okay, Shruti said, you understood from Shruti, from teaching. You need to realize for yourself. You understand? Anywhere you go, everything is fantastic. So you need to realize for yourself. So recently I came across one story. How far it is true, I need to verify. So there is one person over here. It seems I have seen him. So he is in Maunam. Maunam means keep silence. Now the story goes, he talks. But outwardly he is silent. Okay. Now the story goes that he claims that he is a Ravana Maharshi, incarnation of Ravana Maharshi. Okay. So you people should look at me, treat me as a Ravana Maharshi. Something he has written to somebody. So that is now big issue. Okay. Now you have to realize. I have to here realize him, that whether he is Ravana Maharshi or not. First thing I have to look at who is Ravana Maharshi. Second thing I have to compare, okay, that whether he is Ravana Maharshi or not. What a confusion. Can you see this point? Because each one wants to be associated with people. So this is really realization. I have to really, So that's why it is called self-realization group. And in the name of realization, there are many groups. I remember there was one person, he said, I am tired of realization word, which is very old fashioned. Now let us change it. I said, oh. And he put in his business card, actualization. I cannot forget that my business card, okay? Self-actualization. It took some time to me understand what that fellow is talking, okay? I asked him, what is this actualization? He said, look, I am tired. Everybody talks about realization. Hey, that has no value now, it's outdated. Now let me put actualization. Yes, he could actualize many things. I am not telling you jokes. So whether it continued or not, don't ask me, okay, further, okay? How? So here, many people will say, especially looking at this sort of verses, once you have the knowledge from the scripture, Shruti Pramana Anugruhita, So Anugruhita means in keeping with the Shruti as Praman. So you need to have bodha, tayoho nirasa karanyam. That means what? You need to really have what? Realization. If you don't realize or actualize, okay, this is my word, then how you will be able to? That's why your whole life spent what? Realizing. You understand? What do you realize? That you know better, okay? How stupid you were. In fact, that is the realization, okay? The more you understand, have you not observed, especially all these married people, okay? Men especially. Women equally also, don't worry. What they realize after marriage? Be honest. What did you realize? Hopefully, okay? One fellow is not married here. Other than that, somehow, okay? They must have seen some life, okay? What do you realize? With experiences. Only you are, nowadays everybody is married. In fact, people are married to their office, okay? That is the worst marriage, okay? A Swami is married to the ashram. That is worst marriage. So what do you understand? You understand how stupid you were. That is just supposed to be realized, so nothing else. However, here it's being highlighted that once you understand the scripture, now you need to own up the knowledge, not realization. Owning up the knowledge and realizing the knowledge, there is a difference. So when you own up the knowledge, there is a commitment. Can you see this point? That commitment is called your responsibility. And because of the commitment and responsibility, which goes hand in hand together, now you start enjoying the fruit of the knowledge. That is what called jnana phala, nothing else. Don't think that, oh, in my realization I could enjoy, I could understand. Hey, look, because you understand, that's why you enjoy. Not in your realization you understand. You understand? So people play with the words without knowing the words. That's the problem. So that's why what you need to do. Now, once you start owning up the knowledge, please understand, because of the commitment towards the knowledge, now you will discover there is no difference. So what is the difference? Difference between the knowledge and your way of thinking, your habitual error, your normal perception, your instinct. So once you start seeing there is no difference between these two, then what happens? Automatically your superimposition, leaving the superimposition part, your projection part to start with, your projection part will be reduced. And the more you discover that you are not projecting, the more you are tuned to what? The truth, the knowledge. Let us read next. Nedam kalpitatvanna satyam. Rajo drishtabhyalavat sopnavaccha. Itham drishyam sadhu itya vyapohyam. Geyah pasyadeka bhavattayoryah. Says beautifully, na idam kalpitatvat. So he says what? How it starts? As you know, mind always wants to hold on to something. When mind discovers there is nothing to hold on to, that time mind does not support. You can see this point very carefully. Mind always looks for to hold on to something. And the moment mind discovers there is nothing to hold on to, the same mind becomes unfriendly with you. And that mind keeps projecting a lot to make sure that it has to hold on to something. It has to depend upon something. That's why mind keeps shifting from one to other. Like as a child, being a male child in India, in fact I do not know any one of you, very much dependent on this marble. We used to play marble, okay? Playing marble was very interesting, you know, with this, you know, like this we do it, okay? And later on nowadays they do through this way. So we used to practice doing ta-ta, all these things. So playing marble, mind was finding some interest. Now same mind, as it improves, gathers information, discovers, hey, playing marble is a very childish job. So in Indian case, playing cricket is a very big thing. Name, fame, you will come in the television channel, newspaper, everywhere, people will accept, you will get a Bharat Ratna award nowadays, okay? Those days it was not there. So then what happens? Then slowly what you do? Now the mind starts depending upon, how can you see this point? From marble, mind starts depending upon cricket. There is example, nothing more than this. So the mind, suppose if you take away mind from marble, but don't allow mind to depend upon neither cricket nor anything, what will do the mind? Will create real mess, havoc in and around. Have you not observed this point? So the mind always wants to depend upon something or other. And remember, as long as mind depends upon and you encourage and you become part of it, that long you are under the influence of the mind. It is exactly like somebody said, hey look, all my workers are very honest. How do you say so? Especially my maid servant is very honest. How do you say so? Because no stealing, nothing is happening from the house. Really? Yes. How is it possible? Because everything is under lock and key. If everything is under lock and key and you carry the key all the time, how can you say that the person is honest? Don't you think that is another type of conclusion? While keeping everything open, if nothing goes, nothing moves away, that means that is called honesty. also the mind. Mind, as long as it depends upon and finds the object of dependence, mind is fantastic. It's exactly like a child gets whatever wants. So nice. Uncle, how are you? You should see, all 32 teeth. Because child gets what the child wants. Can you see this point? But the moment you don't give or encourage, child feels threatened, challenged, questioned. What the child will do? Mama, I don't want to see that uncle. That uncle should not come to home at all. I have not observed. If uncle comes, I cannot stay. I am going away. Drop me with my grandpapa, grandmama. Just observe this point, how the child behaves. Same thing also me and my mind. So as long as the object of dependence related to the mind is available, that long my mind cooperates with me. That long my mind is excellent. Have you not observed? Peaceful, productive. I don't know whether it's productive or negative, that's another point, okay? But the moment the object of dependence is not available, there is some type of challenge. What happens to the mind? Now same mind will not cooperate. Now here he says, look, the first analysis of one's own self is one of the Kriya methodology of teachings called Noiti. So whatever mind says as this, you have to say not this, not this. So when mind says, look, I am gross body, there is a dependence. Teaching says, hey, not that gross body, you are not that. Okay, I am subtle body, I understand this body will fall down, especially after death. In fact, that is called death. But Atma, the soul, will travel. So if the soul travels, that means what? I am soul. You understand? Hey, remember, that is also not you. So the prakriya, the neti is being used, naiti. I am not this, not that. So when I say this, I try to make sure that the mind does not depend upon anything. Because remember, the moment mind starts depending upon anything, definitely that mind becomes the cause of the bondage. Wow, then Swamiji, why to depend upon the scripture, why to depend upon the teacher? That is the best thing, first thing to be implied, okay? Yes, you must do it, nothing wrong in it. In fact, next step we say, you have to grow out of it. It should get dropped as you grow, or else continue. Or else what will happen is neither mind will be this side nor that side. That's why with reference to teacher and teaching, we make it very clear and careful. Let there be dependence, so that you grow out of the dependence. Let there be dependence in order to grow out of that dependence. That is the approach. Or else, Marta Guru Rota Chela. That is a beautiful saying, okay? The teacher is dying. The disciple is crying. What a pathetic situation. We say, if this happens, dono, both of them are stupid. It's not only the student, the teacher too. But don't worry, it happens, it will happen, okay? Everywhere we see this drama. That's another part of life, okay? However, let us now complete this thing. So, not this, not this. I am not this, I am not this. Noiti, noiti. Noidam, sorry, noiti is noidam, noidam, nedam, nedam. Noidam, noidam. So neither I am this nor I am this. Because why? Kalpitatvat. This body again is nothing but is the product of this Maya. What I call as body is nothing body but grossified 5 elements. When it is out, it's exactly like the best example we give the hair. In Indian context, we have a very good context it was. Now things have gone away. As long as hair is in the body, that long the hair has got its own beauty. The moment hair falls down, in fact, if you touch that hair, you have to take a shower. That's why we don't cut the nail whenever we want. After the cutting the nail, we take shower. All these things are being done before, okay? Not this pedicure, manicure, all the cure, okay? You can go for nothing wrong in it. But after doing that, come and take shower. This is my request, okay? You must do. So after that, come and take shower so that you are, completely different from that. However, he says, being kalpitata, how is it look? They are not satyam, na satyamiti. This is not truth. How? Raju drushta byalavat. So now, when you start seeing the snake on a rope, how the imposition? You need to negate, you need to do work conscious. And also here the word is exactly like Swapnavat, like Rajubat. Byalavat. And like also a dream, like a snake ring. The itham drishyam sadhu yuktiya vyapoha gyeya paschat ekabhavatayoyah continues. As you start eliminating, as you start seeing the limitations, while seeing in the twilight as a snake on the rope, you start, no, it is not snake, in fact it is rope, but visible as though snake. Or your dream. Of course, as long as you are under the influence of dream, you cannot, unless you see a dream in another dream. As it is to be eliminated, here also one is supposed to understand Gaya or to be understood. And once it is there, paschat, thereafter what happens? Eka bhavaha tayoho. Tayo means jiva atmanayoho. So between Jiva, Jivatma and Paramatma, there is Aikya Bhava, and that is something to be understood, and for that one need to work consciously every moment. More of it we'll see tomorrow. Please close your eyes.
पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति।